Greetings and salutations. In today's video, I will demonstrate how to pull data from AirTable using their API and fill in a PDF template with this data based on certain conditions being met. You can adjust for your needs or just contact us at hello@aipsolutions.tech and we can assist you in your automation needs. So follow along and let's begin. First thing, let's head over to AirTable and look at the data we will be working with. I have an ultra simple table called client tables. In here, I have a few columns defined here: name, notes, attachment, status, etc. My task at hand is to hone in only on the entries that are marked with a status of done. I want to take those entry fields and insert it into a PDF document that later can be emailed to a client or colleague for instance. So based on our 4 entries here, we will just target 2 with the status of done. So that's client B and client C. Okay, great. So let's look at the template. This is our template, super simple template with a few fields: name, email, image, and status. Each template field should correspond to our entry in our AirTable. So let's head back over to AirTable as we need to grab some information. Okay, we need an API key and the API endpoint. Well, we need to create the key, or rather access token is what it's called. And to do that, we click our account initial in the top right corner of the table and select Developer Hub. Under Personal Access Tokens, click Create New Token. Give it a name and add a scope. I just want to be able to view the data, so data.records:"read" is all I need. You can add a base as well to restrict it even further and select the table in question. Hit Create Token. This will generate our key and you will no longer be visible, so copy this on your keyboard and paste it somewhere safe for now. So we have our key. We now need to get the endpoint, which is basically the URL we will connect to retrieve this information. So click back to home. The endpoint will follow this format. So in my case, my base ID can be obtained by clicking the Help button and selecting API documentation. In this page, the base ID will be listed explicitly, so grab that. We also need to take note of the table name. Shown here. My table is called table space 1. The space will be denoted as %20, so it will be noted as table %21. Okay, so we got the information we need. Let's head over to PowerShell. First thing, let's define the variable we will be using. Let's take our key that we got earlier and assign it to a variable called API key. Next, let's get our generated endpoint and assign it to API endpoint. This will be our base ID and our table name as shown here, where %20 is denoted as the space. So this is how it looks. Next, we will invoke our REST method with our endpoint and API key formatted like so, and assign this to our variable response. So if we were to just run this and take a look at the response data, this is how it would look. it has a record field. So if we view response.record, we get this data. This is each entry in our table with an ID, created time, and fields. We want the fields as that contains the good data. So let's get response.records.fields and assign that to a variable called fields. Now, we will use the itext sharp DLL to fill in our template. So let's define our template location. And we will grab our PDF fields from our template with this line. That will also reference our itextsharp.dll location. Okay, so let's take those PDF fields and fill it in an array with these lines of code. Okay, perfect. Let's actually run this to see how our array R1 will be filled in. Great, we get all the fields listed in our PDF document. So now, our fields data that we got from Airtable, we want to loop through that. But remember, we will only target those with a status of done. So for each field in fields, if the field.status is equal to done, we want to do something. We need the name, email, image, and status, and we will always mark as completed. So let's grab that information and place it in an array like this. Next, we will define a hash table and associate each element in our array 2 with the associated field in array 1 to create this hash table. And we do that like so. We define our file name, which will just be the value in our field name with the extension of .pdf, and the full path where this new file name will reside. Okay, great. Now we define our parameters. Fields, which is our hash table, our input PDF file being our template, our text shop library location DLL file, and our output PDF file being our full path variable. Okay, great. Now we want to save these parameters, which will create the PDF and then clear the PDF fields variable with a clear command. Now, I also want to insert the image into our PDF, which Airtable returns as a link to the image. So I created a function called insert image that takes the image URL and the PDF path of where the PDF is and generates a new PDF with the image inserted into it. And that is done with this line of code. We then close off our if statement and then our for each loop. So this is where our template is located and where our file should be generated. So if we go ahead and run this, we should get our new files created with the necessary information filled in. If we open up the first one, client B, we have all our data. Okay, let's open client C, and we have all our data. Great. Remember, this is how the data looks in AirTable. So that's perfect. We got the information we needed inserted into our PDF template. And that's it, folks. This is how you would use data that you have in your AirTable account to automate insertion of this data into a PDF. You can also automate sending it to a client or filing it away on a file server, whatever your needs. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel and contact us at hello@aipsolutions.tech for your complex automation needs. Thanks for watching. This has been brought to you by AIP Solutions.